Today I'm going to be working on the HDMI port of a PlayStation 3. So, I don't know if you can see it there, but one, it's well used, but you can see how the pins are separating from that plastic and they're all kind of messed up. So there's that, and then the actual port, when you put it in, it wobbles in there. It doesn't like hold on to it. So like to get it to actually work, you have to kind of put it like that. So that's not good. And if you put it in flush, it's just a black screen. So I ordered a new port from Amazon, and tell quite a difference here. If I plug it in, there's barely any movement and it holds onto that good. So let's open up the PlayStation and then desolder it. There is a lot of pins under there, so this might be challenging, but let's see what we can do. I saw somebody do this online and they used a hot air station. Hopefully I don't need that, as I don't have one, so that could be challenging. I need a torque bit. So this uses a T9 Torx security bit. Or no, I don't know. This is T8, but the kit said T9. So there's four of those screws here that holds all the front plate stuff, like the power button and all that. These are all the same, so I don't have to keep track of the order. So I got this system on eBay. It has a 4 parts listing. The drive was stuck. There was a disc stuck in the drive was the issue listed. Most of that seemed to be whoever owned this was a smoker, so it was clogged up with cigarette tar. So I just cleaned that out and lubricated it, and it seems to be working just fine now. So this here is where the hard drive is. So you just pick up this with your fingernail. It has a little peg, so you just turn it to the side. This one is a Phillips. This one's easy to remember. It's the only one that's like this, and it's got a blue top. And then this panel here slides to the side, comes out, so that's where it was screwed in, so you just slide it to the side. This had broken off, and this little thing, so I glued that back on. This thing was kind of mistreated. You can see the only thing that sort of stinks right now is these two sections look like they got burned, probably from cigarette smoke, but other than that, it's in fairly good condition. We got some kind of melting or chemical reaction there, but for very cheap, because it was with 4 parts, got a working PlayStation 3. So got the hard drive. I had updated it to a SSD. I'm considering modding it so that I can run games from the hard drive rather than from the disk. I have a bunch of disks, but it's so much easier to have it from the hard drive. All right, so they have rubber feet Oh, these were missing too. So I found these online. It has rubber feet. They aren't stuck down. They're just, they fit in. So let's pull those out. So I just use this to kind of lift from the side. If I'm carefully doing it this way, I make less damage than, there we go. Less damage than if I use a screwdriver, because a screwdriver you kind of get your leverage from prying against the plastic, and then that usually ends up denting the plastic that you're prying against. These feet here are a little different. It's like the official PlayStation ones were kind of a softer rubber, I think. At least the PlayStation 2 had soft rubber feet. So I think this one here though is actually stuck on with adhesive. So one of these is. Hopefully I don't mix that up. I think this is the adhesive, which makes sense because there's a screw there to hold it down, I suppose. Alright. Then I have these little plastic panels, the same thing, just try to pry it up a little bit. I like to just get it so I can get my fingernails under it. So just these clips. So Sony, at least with the PlayStation 2 and 3 and all that, seemed pretty consumer, that people are, they're letting you get into these machines without making them, destructive, where the Xbox 360, there was like basically no screws. You had to kind of pry it open. You had these people would make special tools to get into it. So that was quite a bit different than this. All right, so see all that. All right, so I got this one's just there's no screw under that one, and then the rest are there. So let's unscrew that. If I remember correctly, all these are the same, so there's no need to keep track. Alright, so I think if I remember correctly, you tip it kind of towards the front. we go. All right, got that out. You can see, surprised I didn't clean that up. There's quite a bit of dust and tar. I mean, maybe that did get cleaned up and it came from the fan, because the fan I tried to clean, but it's, I didn't want to get too deep into it. All right, so another nice thing is made this very modular. This is the power supply. It just comes out with a couple screws. So it's like they know people are gonna go modify. This is another kind of cool thing. This is Sony, not just PlayStation. They have these arrows telling you, like unscrew this. Then the arrows mean, that's something holding it down, not just like there'll be other things that you don't need to do to get the part out, and they won't have arrows on it. So it's kind of nice. All right. So this just has 2 holes that connect power to this. Okay. You don't have to really take this apart. I haven't taken it apart that much. So if I recall, there's an arrow here to get this out. So let's disconnect the ribbon cables. I think that's it to get the CD out, or DVD. Alright, so there's one ribbon cable underneath, and that one has a clip that holds it in, so I'm just gonna try to lift that clip without doing too much. It was kind of a pain to get it back in. Alright, so that's the case. It took this apart and got in there to get the disc. It's also got kind of a little dip, which I don't know if maybe that was part of why it wasn't coming out, so I could have bent it back. So yeah, there's the CD. Well, Blu-ray. So with the PlayStation 2, part of what helped the PlayStation 2 sell is DVD players were new and expensive, so for a little bit more you could just get a PlayStation 2, and it was one of the better DVD players. A lot of them had crappy hardware, so then they would be kind of slow. Alright, so I'm just going to try to remember. So they have a label here, it says BT for, and then WL, so I can know that so I guess that's Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. So I can remember the B is black and the W is white. Pop that off. So it seems attached to this shroud, or whatever it is. So I'm gonna just try to find these arrows. Oh, that arrow is to the Blu-ray. So then when PlayStation 3 came out, they used Blu-ray technology for the discs, and they included a Blu-ray player, but the Xbox 360 was still DVD, because Sony owned Blu-ray, and there's 2 formats. There's DVD and HD DVD for the 1080p video. So Microsoft didn't want to pay Sony for the Blu-ray lasers, so they just had a DVD. Yeah, okay, they just had a DVD player in the Xbox 360, and they had the competing format HD DVD. They had an add-on that you could play HD DVD, which I think was a good move. If they were expecting the drive to sell the console, which I don't think at that point it did. So it wasn't a big loss to have DVD only. Blu-ray adoption was a lot lower. Alright, so we got the motherboard out, so I'm going to set this aside. And just going to look for any other, I don't see any other connectors, but I see screws here, so I'm thinking probably just need to unscrew stuff on this side. Yep, okay, so yeah, again, they have arrows pointing me to where to unhook things. That includes these, which look like, especially since the fan is here, it looks like that's retaining heat sinks for the processors. Which I'm hoping I don't have to remove. I'm hoping I can get the top off without having to. Alright, so this is where the hard drive sits, and I just got clipped on the side there. I'm hoping I can just get the top off without having to do all that. No, I can see a screw here from that retention clip. So I do have to take these out. Which might be alright. I might have to put new thermal compound on the chips, which is probably a good thing if it's dried out. Maybe get a little bit of quieter operation. I just feel like PC thermal compound is better than what they came from the factory with, but also some of it doesn't last years on end, so I feel like the original compound might actually be designed to last longer before it breaks down totally. Where in a PC, people might change that out, or I think I've seen some compounds that are expecting you to put new compound on. Alright, so there's the heat shield there. Alright, does this come off now? Yeah, it comes off, but concerningly. All right. With that, I can see this is another reason it probably would overheat more. So looking at this, it's not too bad. It's still sort of pliable, but it also looks like there was probably quite a bit of gaps, so maybe isn't cooling as efficiently as it should have. So I'm gonna also, after this take, I don't know what this, yeah, okay. looks like the screws here that are holding the fan on. I'm gonna take the opportunity to clean out the fan because it is gunked up with tar and dust. So. All right, so that's your PlayStation 3 Slim, and here's our problem. This HDMI port. So the good thing is it looks a lot like the new one, but let's double check because that thing's not matched. So looks like it'll fit, and then it looks like everything lines up just as I can tell. So let's see if we can get this out of here. Just looking at this. Good thing is there's not like a ton of stuff near it. There's a couple resistors or something near it. Other than that, it's pretty good. Alright, I'm just gonna add new solder and alright, so now I'm just gonna try to wick up as much of this new solder and old solder as possible. So now I'm trying to use a solder braid. It soaks up the solder, so it'll hopefully soak up the new and old. And that gets gunked up, so then I just cut that off as I go, because that can be a pain because the solder that's on the wick can sometimes re-solder new things or get stuck. Iron doesn't seem quite hot enough. And then I'm going to add some flux, so that gives us a little bit more heat transfer, but leaves an annoying residue. When I update this flux, I'm going to try it. They have some that claim to not leave residue, so maybe try that once this is up. All right. This got kind of welded. Yeah, this is like welding itself more than it's absorbing the flux or the solder. Usually these posts for stability can go against like the ground plane, which is a lot more copper, and sometimes it can be a big pain to get the solder out of. Because it requires a lot more heat, the copper will absorb a lot of the heat, and then it won't reflow the solder. Alright, so I'm just gonna trying to heat it and push. Try to get the pegs to go down. They're very fine. Kind of concerning. That's more flux. Yeah, I'm concerned about how easily it'll be to get them out, and then once they're out, cleaning up the solder. Good. And I'm just gonna try to put some downward pressure and heat up. So I just turned up the heat on my iron, hoping I would give it enough heat to dislodge that, but ooh, it's putting out a lot of heat. We got too much heat in here. Gotta lift traces. And this thing works very well other than this. So as long as I have the, I'm gonna try a different flux I got down here. It's supposed to be used to tin solder tip. All right, so I got a ton of flux on here. That helped a little. I saw stuff come up. Some solder sort of pulled up there. I don't know if that's a good sign. That stuff stinks. Whew. Wow. Whew, this smells so good. That didn't help out. Whew. Stinks and didn't help any. Alright, I'm gonna clean this surface and rethink this. I have a hot air gun, but I'm really worried with everything around here. It might get too hot. And there's some Captain tape, but not here. But let's clean that up first. Got this kit from Amazon. There's all sorts of brushes. Yeah, looks like there's a lot of flux even from the factory. Yeah, there's flux all the way over here too, so it's not just me adding flux to this board. Alright, I guess while I've been doing that, I decided I'm gonna try to put some tin foil around here to deflect the heat onto these parts, because these, if they get too hot, they'll stand on end and be a nightmare. Let me take, especially some of these are super tiny. I'll try to angle it so it's there, not there. Alright, let me get some tools and stuff. I'll be right back. So I moved the camera a little bit too, because I noticed working kind of off the bench a little bit, because there's a those two prongs are right there. Alright, so I'm gonna try to add some tin foil so that'll deflect some of the heat. Heat it up enough and not destroy anything else. And maybe I can push down on my screwdriver. I use this heat gun. It's got low and high, so I'm going to start with low. Just gonna put a little bit. So I'm going to start with low. Sounds like something melting. I'm hoping it's just the tape. I'm just gonna give that time for everything to cool. But yeah, I think the biggest problem is this is all copper, which absorbs a lot of the heat from the gun, the iron, which makes it very difficult. Alright, good. Looks like everything survived. Looks to be in place. But did not accomplish anything. Alright. So I think I'm gonna try like just for a little bit longer, and if I can't get that to work, I might try to find a rework station. So the rework station is kind of like that, only the hot air is concentrated into a little flow of air, so then you can point it right where you need it instead of it hitting all of this stuff. What I remember is if it dissipates a lot of heat, you just need it to be super hot. Even though it's hot enough to melt the solder, it needs to melt it quickly so that it doesn't get absorbed by the copper. Pushing down with the screwdriver, heating up the solder. Yeah, barely warms up. Whoop. So yeah. Also heating things up super hot is how you destroy the traces. So I don't like this. Yep. And I could try what I did on the other one, but I feel like I'll still have trouble getting, even if it's not attached to the HDMI. Like the other thing I was working on a controller and I just clipped the legs so it just had the pins and I could push them through a little bit easier. It still was not easy. But yeah, looking at this, I have not made a dent, and there's solder on this side too, so we'd have to really reactivate that. So yeah, I'm gonna look into a rework station for that, I think. And that's the only way I'll be able to do it. So, let's set this aside, and we'll come back once I have something else to try. Yeah. Let's do that. All right. I took the fan off, and whew, boy, that's gross. So that's the fan there. So let's just get this out of here. Ooh, boy, look at that. So that's the fuzz that's in there. Yeah, and whoever owned this was a smoker, because this smells like cigarettes. Look at all that dust. Ugh. All right, so I'm gonna replace the thermal compound. All right, let's put some thermal compound on there. I don't remember what this is exactly.